Hello, this is Simply Exponentiating coming to you from Lititz, Pennsylvania. And we're back here again. I love coming to Lititz because it's the coolest little town, rated by a certain magazine a few years, well, a whole bunch of, I think 2013. So why am I here? I am here because I'm going to be doing the Lititz Departed Spirits Tour. And it's hosted by the Lititz Historical Foundation. So a little bit of history about this building behind, which is one of the buildings we'll be entering. And this is the Lititz Moravian Church here in Lititz, Pennsylvania, obviously. This building once was used in 1786, I believe, as a hospital during the Revolutionary War. So many of the soldiers, I think, if I remember correctly, it's about 110 soldiers came here to be treated after fighting for General Washington, and many of them died here, unfortunately, hence why it's called the Departed Souls. I mean, Departed Spirits Tour, but they are departed souls as well. So let's see what we'll learn tonight here during this tour. We'll also be probably visiting several other buildings as well. So we'll see what that entails as well. So without further ado, won't you join me? Yes, you join me in this tour.
To Lititz, and I want to thank you for coming. You had a choice and you chose us, and we very much appreciate that. So we like to think of ourselves as Williamsburg in miniature, small but mighty. You had a lot of choices tonight. There's ghost tours all over the place, and it's happening. Ghosts aplenty here, but all of them very kind. As in death, they are as in life, very nice people. If at any point during this little intro you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Other than that, again, my name is Cheryl. Please do feel free, if you are so inclined, after the tour, to go to TripAdvisor and please let us know how we did. We take it very seriously, and it really helps us know what we can do better, what we need to avoid, hopefully nothing, but do let us know. So again, the name is Cheryl. Now that's if you like the tour. If you don't, my name is Kimberly, and that is my older sister. She lives in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm the only crazy one that actually moved up here, but that's what happens when you fall in love with a Yankee. You do crazy things. So we're just going to be waiting for the rest of our crowd. We were going to part at 5:45. We'll hear the big bong, and I already made my joke about bongs. I got to read the room, and not everybody wants to hear a bong joke. So. Okay. You are peckish, as we would say in the 18th century, and want something to eat after the tour. Now, I'll guarantee that after one of my tours, you're probably going to want to drink, so you're going to want to go up the street, get something a little strong. Yeah, we sold out. We sell out every year. I would think. Yeah, we do. This is what I love so much, because I'm in the SAG-AFTRA, so I do stuff for Discovery Channel and History Channel. I make biopics, but I'm not an Actors Equity, so this is my theater. So yeah, I can only afford so many dues, and you know the other stuff pays better. But these people are like my second family. I love them very much. They actually treat me better than my family. So they are wonderful people. I discovered them by accident, and I was going to volunteer, and they said to me, "We hear you're an actor. We'll pay you." I said, "I'll take it." Yeah. Because between COVID and the strike, I was on the fast train to the courthouse. So, but it's wonderful. It's a non-exclusive contract, which means I get to do other stuff. So they're wonderful, wonderful people. Howdy. Oh, you look awesome. Oh, wait a minute. Do I see you or not? Am I allowed to see you?
Am I getting married?
This is Susan. Susan's my BFF. Susan lived in Maryland. She lived in Ellicott City. She's one of our resident ghosty ladies tonight. You look awesome.
I'm a ghost in training.
Oh, you look good. You got the makeup and everything. You look good. I love the hat. Thank you. This is my deluxe Spirit Halloween witch hat. $16 and no sales tax because it's clothing. Whoa. I moved to a great state. I really did. No sales tax on clothing. I don't know the root really, but I have my cheat sheet. So. always. I missed that. I had a tour, full disclosure, that went long, so I wasn't here for the rehearsal. So if we end up back in Maryland, you will forgive me. I think after the first one will be good. Okay, cool. I couldn't get it. Okay, all right.
You can get a note from the list. There is a Reese's cup with bacon.
Okay. You go through the chocolate. Oh, yeah. Right. In the fellowship. Yeah, that's where I came in. So that part. Okay. All right, everybody. Are we ready?
Yes, we
All right.
are.
You know what we said? Toot toot. The spooky train is pulling out. Let's go.
So we're gonna go up this way first.
If you dare. Okay, watch the sidewalk. Watch
Yeah.
this thing, please. No injuries, no litigation. That's how it goes. All right, everybody. Gather around. Let everybody catch up. So, the Privy actually used to be there. They did move it so that they could build the Moravian Mission gift shop. The Moravian Mission is worldwide. These people are more like the Quakers than anybody else. And they are all about charity and giving, and it's very, very genuine. So, if it's open Fridays and Saturdays. Please go in there and check out the merchandise. It all goes to a good cause. The Moravian Mission is more about bringing people in developing countries and people at risk food and water, medicine, and education. The Moravians are all about scholarship. They actually founded the very first women's college in the 1740s in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Girl power, yeah! All right. Well, anyway, this is a two-seater. This is a luxurious, privy, necessary outhouse. Call it what you will. Apparently, the big adult seat was too big for the kids, and they fell right in. And you know, that happened to me when I was a kid, and I never got over it. So, who wants to see inside? Let's see what's inside. Anybody in there? Who are you? I'm sorry. I'm nobody. Yell at them.
What are all these people doing here?
I'm sorry, Mammy. I'm
Can a
sorry.
woman do her business in peace?
No.
Oh, you know, it is bad enough that the children come and look at me through that side vent, but now you just opened the door for the whole world to see. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, well, anyway, so you're doing a tour, huh?
Yes, Mammy. I sure am.
So, guess you want to hear about me, huh?
I heard they call you two-story, Mammy.
Well,
That's not
they
very
call,
sensitive.
everybody around here calls me Mammy, but my real name was Anna Schrader, but you can call me Mammy. Yeah, the children had a nickname for me, and they called me Two-Story Mammy. Because as you can see, I'm a big woman. Yeah, in fact, I am very big, especially on one side. Yeah. So it was kind of known around the community about my big ass set. So the neighborhood had the local handyman come out. His name was Green Bear Petticoat, and he cut that hole big enough for me. It sure feels better. Yeah. A little hole just doesn't work. Anyway, yeah, this is a two-seater. In case you wanna see, there's the little one and there's the big one. And there's 3 reasons why you'd want to bring your child out here with you. Because it's crowded, because they share this with many families, and they need to get their business done and let other people in. Or maybe the child was scared, didn't want to come out alone, or maybe it was dark. Yeah, and you don't want that child to fall in the hole. That would be bad. Yeah. So, anyway, there's a strange thing I heard about you people nowadays. Now, in my day, we went outside to do our business. That's normal. And we went inside to eat our meals. But I heard you people do your business inside. And then you go out to eat meals. I don't understand that at all. Well, Anyway, you guys be moving along, 'cause I got to finish what I started here. Okay.
Great. Let us continue.
Sorry, that was great. So now I'm gonna lag a little behind. That way you can get wider shots
No. I'll get the
of our group here. So each group is limited to 25. And as you heard, they're all sold out, and it's only a one-day event they do. They've been doing it the last couple of years, so looks like there's another docent up there, but they do other tours out of the Lititz Historical Society, the Historic Preservation.
Some can come down here on this side, please. Okay. Yeah. This is good. All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Take a look across the street at my beautiful house. Isn't it beautiful? A work of art? I am so proud of that. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Martin Hess. Now, I was born in 1858 in Elizabeth Township, which is north of Brunerville, which is north of Lititz. We were a large Mennonite family. My parents were Jacob and Mary Hess. I had 8 brothers and sisters, and we attended the Hammer Creek Mennonite Church. Later, my 2 unmarried sisters and I left the Hammer Creek Church, and we became members of Lititz Moravian Church, where I served as an elder and also taught the men's Sunday school Bible class. So as for me, for 35 years, I was a coal and lumber dealer in Lititz. In addition to coal and lumber, I sold all types of building materials. I sold roofing materials. I sold stones, bricks, slate, doors, windows, tools, nails, anything that had to do with the building industry. I was like the early Home Depot or Lowe's of Lititz. Many of the structures built in Lititz and surrounding area were built with materials that were bought from me. In addition to my coal and lumber business, I also farmed 74 acres in Elizabeth Township, and I was one of the early directors of the Lititz National Bank. But something was still missing in my life. I was in my 30s, and I was still a bachelor. So in 1890, I purchased the lot at 131 East Main, right across the street from Samuel Sieber, for $900. The lot contained an old stone house which was in dilapidated, run-down condition. So I had it removed and I built my beautiful 2-story brick Victorian house. I wanted something that would really stand out and maybe even attract a woman. So I moved into my house in September of 1893 along with my 2 sisters, Lydia and Celinda. Soon after that, I became a unique specimen of bachelorhood throughout Lititz with my fanciful new house and my money assets. Well, you know what? It worked. In June of 1896, I was a bachelor no more. I married the beautiful, lovely Ella Hacker, who was coincidentally 10 years younger than me. She was the daughter of Levi and Lavina Hacker, who were 2 town merchants. And they had a beautiful brick house at 62 East Main, down this way. It's where the Alden House Bed and Breakfast is now. Our wedding was held on a June afternoon, Thursday afternoon, beautiful day. The house was adorned inside and out with ferns and palms and roses, all kinds of flowers, lovely decorated. The organs played throughout the afternoon and into the evening. At 4 o'clock was the wedding ceremony. Right after the ceremony, the 50-some guests who had assembled were treated to a lavish catered dinner. At 7 o'clock, the horse and carriage pulled up in front and took Ella and I to the Lancaster train station to board a train to Philadelphia and Atlantic City, where we would spend our honeymoon. When we returned, my 2 unmarried sisters moved out of the house and they moved into the 3-story brick house down the street. Well, Ella and I had a wonderful life together. We traveled, and when we weren't traveling, we were entertaining friends and family in our beautiful house with parties and dinners. If you went down this street on a Friday or Saturday night, you might see horses and carriages tied up at the different posts while their owners were inside enjoying our hospitality. Every spring, we took great pride in adorning our wraparound porch with hanging baskets and hanging flowers from Hendrick's Flower Shop. And we just enjoyed doing that and enjoyed watching the passerbys go by in their horses and carriages and buggies, and they would wave and we would wave. Later on, the automobiles would go by, or as we called them, the machines would go by. Here comes a machine down the street. That's what they referred to as an automobile. And we just enjoyed doing that. And sometimes neighbors would walk by and we'd say, come up the porch, have a nice cold, ice-cold glass of lemonade, or an ice-cold glass of iced tea, or an ice-cold glass of another beverage, whatever. Well, unfortunately, Ella passed away in 1936, and I was left by myself in that big house. Got too big for me, so I moved in with my sisters down the street. In 1938, I sold the house to the Balsbach family for $5,000. $5,000. They in turn sold it to the Garbers. The Garbers sold it to Noah and Mary Trimmer, who had a department store in Lititz. They later sold it to Glenn and Peggy Keys, and since 2008, it's been home to Lititz Improvement. And I forgot to pass this around, but this is what the house looked like in 1905. Because I'm going to talk about that funky tower at the top. There was a funky tower at the top. Unfortunately, it was lost to an act of God, a windstorm, or maybe a lightning strike, or perhaps an act of man. Then I passed away in January of 1941 at the age of 83 years. So that's the story of me, Martin Hess, and my beautiful house with the funky tower. Just take a look at this before you leave. It's amazing to see the artwork on there, the scroll work, the ornate metal brackets.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my 2 sisters.
I was going to ask that. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have children?
We had no children. We traveled. We had a wonderful life. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Oh, really? I bet. Grandson.
Put this right here really quick so I can get up closer. 6 p.m.
Everybody catch up. Having your way.
My name is Mary Dixon. I was born in 1863 in Bethlehem and graduated from Linden Hall School for Girls, located next to me, in 1879. Records show that I was involved in music, and I was said to be a studious, dutiful, and trustworthy student. At 19, I contracted tuberculosis and died in 1882. My widowed father was brokenhearted and provided $25,000 to build the beautiful Mary Dixon Chapel in my memory. He was present at the groundbreaking and laying of the cornerstone, but sadly, he passed away before it was completed in 1885. It is built in the Gothic style from limestone, mined here in Lititz, and sandstone from Schaefferstown. One of its stained glass windows depicts an angel telling the three Marys at the empty tomb that their Savior Jesus Christ has risen. Although I didn't die here in Lititz, some say my spirit lingers and makes occasional appearances throughout the halls of the school, especially in the chapel. Many students have claimed to have seen me on several occasions. I loved my time at Linden Hall, so my spirit remains. It is my pleasure to meet you all, and now I must return to the shadows.
So, follow me. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. This young lady actually is an actor, so she's on her way. Wasn't she good? Yeah. So now our next stop is literally called the Corpse House. This is Lititz Moravian Church. It was built in 1786. It's the only one left in the United States. Built from all that beautiful local limestone. This is where you stashed the bodies in the old days for funerals. In the Moravian religion, it's not considered cool to bring human remains into the cemetery. And I'll let them take over at this point and give you the rest of the history.
please gather around the front.
Come on down, folks. It's been a busy place tonight. I've been just kind of walking around because I heard that people are seeing spirits around here, but I just question that because, you know, I've been around here like over 30 years. I've been up to the third floor of the Brothers' house where 120 soldiers had died during 1787 when it was a hospital for George Washington. And that building in this third floor is unchanged from 1777. Still has the old paint on the walls and all the old dirt and everything. I've been up to the third floor of the old lady's house where many old women, older married widowed sisters had died over there. I never saw or heard anything like a ghost or a spirit, but hey, believe what you want. But I'm here just to explain, because I know there's groups coming around here. I can explain a little bit about the Moravian burial practices and then talk about this rare building, because it's the only one you'll see in America. So Moravians believe that when you die, your spirit's ascended and your body is just flesh and bone. So traditionally, the Moravians do not place the corpse in the sanctuary for the service. Instead, they had to keep the corpse somewhere else. So they built these things called Leichenkapelchen. In German, Leichen is a corpse, and in English, lichens are those little green things that grow on rocks. But in German, it means corpse. A Kapelchen means just a little chapel. So we call it the corpse house. Now, we built ours out of stone. But if you remember the story of the three little pigs, you know, the one pig built his house out of straw, the other one built his house out of twigs. We use local quarried limestone, and it's the only one that stands. Emmaus, Nazareth, Bethlehem, Salem, many other Moravian settlements back in the day had corpse houses. In fact, Salem had like 3 or 4 of them, and they all rotted away. They tore them down. So this is the only one left in America. Now we'll go inside later. I'll show you how it works. It's like colonial air conditioning. The other tradition we have in burial is that when you get out to God's acre, we call our cemetery Gottes Acher. It means God's acre, because we believe, as the Bible instructs, that when you die, your corpse is planted like a seed to rise again when Christ returns. When you get out there, look around, you'll see a lot of grass. You won't see big tombstones, but you will see, if you look close in the grass, you'll see hundreds of flat stones. Moravians believe that we're all equal in death, so everyone has a flat stone. The other thing that's unusual about Moravian burial traditions, I'm a married brother, and if I were to die, just like this little lecture's dying real fast, if I were to die tomorrow, I'd be buried with the married brothers, because I'm a member of the married brothers choir. Now that choir system, when you hear the word choir, we think singing. But it has nothing to do with singing, although we always had a choir here, and we still do. But back in Zinzendorf's time, in the early 1700s in Germany, when he was getting this Unitas Fratrum reorganized, they developed a system to keep people connected. So there were widowed sisters, widowed brothers, married sisters, married brothers, single sisters, which lived in that stone house over there. Single brothers lived in this stone house here, and then there were little boys and little girls choirs. So you met with your choir 4 times a day, morning when you woke up, later in the morning, lunchtime, and in the evening for Vespers, singing, Bible reading, and so on. So it was like a little support system, kind of a forward-thinking idea in my mind. So anyway, yeah, so that's how it worked. So let's take a look at this building. Anyone not from Pennsylvania? Okay. Well, Pennsylvania, tell them what our state symbol is.
Keystone.
Keystone. You'll see the keystone all around. When you pay those great turnpike tolls that everyone, you'll see this symbol all around Pennsylvania. Because, I'm not going to ask you this one because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but the keystone is the last stone to go into an arch. And if you pull that stone out, the arch collapses. Pennsylvania was the center state, a center colony of the 13 colonies, because Philadelphia had the Continental Congress. If Philadelphia and Pennsylvania would have fallen, the colonies would have collapsed. So we're known as the Keystone State. You'll see this in architectural elements. You'll see it in furniture. Well, let's take a look inside. I know you're dying to see in there, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see. I have a candle lamp. Oh, wait a minute. Whoa. So, now I get it. So somebody was saying that there's like spirits at a tour I'll bet you're Joe.
I'm Joe from the 1770s. I'm Joe the Gravedigger. Moravian communities had an official gravedigger, and I'm the gravedigger. So it's
Well,
not
Joe, I'm a pretty high-paid person here, so you probably work a little cheaper. So why don't you continue
Okay.
with your story,
I will.
and I'll listen.
Sounds great. Thanks, Brother Tom. So being a gravedigger in a Moravian community is not easy work. We had to dig graves by hand in the 1700s. It was cold in the wintertime, hot work in the summertime, and so I had a system that was not very popular with the locals. I would dig the graves ahead of time if I found out somebody was about to pass away. There was an old woman living in town. I checked in with the local doc, and he said she was on her last leg, and so I started digging her grave, getting ready. She saw me doing this from the second floor window of her place and was not too happy about it. And she said, "How dare you dig the grave? I'm not even dead yet." So she had the last laugh. She went on to live for another 2 years. Death in a Moravian community was not viewed as a terrifying experience. The metaphor of death was not the Grim Reaper, but it was going home to be with the Savior. And so somebody would die, the body would be washed, would be dressed gracefully and simply, placed in a coffin. And as Brother Tom mentioned, this occurred within the choir system, single brothers, single sisters. After the brief account of that person's life, read by the pastor, we call this a Lebenslauf, then the body would proceed to the Gottesacker, the God's Acre, and burial would take place at that time. So,
I'd take your picture, but you'd probably be invisible.
oh, yeah.
Hey, Joe, that was really great. I really appreciate that. I'm going to go back to work here. But,
Me too. I have graves to dig.
Yeah, and I got a tip for your business.
What's that?
You should put a fence around your cemetery.
Why?
People are dying to get in there.
Oh.
Let's go inside, folks, and we'll take a look at the one
It's like a roach motel. You'll check in, but you won't check out.
This is always a popular spot on these works. Like I said, it's the only one left in America. You want to move on in? I think we can fit everybody in. We usually fit 20 to 25.
It's hard to see.
Maybe later on you can just sort of on the way out, just spin around if you want to take pictures. You can linger a little bit. So if you look up, you'll see an arch. And just like many of our cold cellars around the county in this area to keep food cold, that arch has a purpose because if you recall from 6th grade science class, hot air rises and it's all going to go to the center of that arch. So in the front of the building, facing the prevailing winds northwest, there's a window they could open, and then the hot air was in the center of the arch and it would blow out the rear port. But if you look carefully at that port, you'll see that it actually is funnel shaped rather than cylindrical. And if you remember from 9th grade science, that funnel shape made water or wind spin in a more efficient way, and it really made the hot air go out much faster. So this is built on science, and not just because they thought they'd open it up here and open it up there. The other things in here of interest are these large cooling trays. These are not for burial. When a person would die, and this is not Moravian, this is anybody in those days, when someone died in those days, they had to place the body in a tray to cool, so that when rigor mortis set in, the body was stiff and straight for the casket, and they could lift them straight into a casket. Underneath the other two trays in the corners, the large ones for adults, the little ones for children, you'll see funeral beers, B-I-E-R, don't get your hopes up. Those funeral beers. And I don't know if I mentioned to this group or not, because they all started to blur together, but after the ceremony, the trombones would lead out the rear doors with the brothers on the right side, the sisters on the left side, and then the congregation, the pallbearers would carry the coffin on the biers, and they would all process to God's Acre for the burial. Now the trombones were split. They were led by half the trombones, and then they were followed by the other half of trombones, and these trombones would play antiphonally. Meaning the front trombones would play a musical passage, and then the rear trombones would echo that same passage. So you would hear the music going over your head. If you want to experience that in modern day, Easter morning at 6 a.m. we convene in the sanctuary for a quick Bible reading, and the choir sings an anthem. And then about 400 people will process, led by the trombones and followed by the trombones. And they'll play antiphonally all the way out to God's Acre, where they have like a 20-minute ceremony. So it's a pretty cool thing. A lot of people, there's at least 400 people here. So I appreciate your attention. You have some other stops to go here, and you want to follow your guide. I believe you're headed out to the front of the brother's house. Thank
Sorry. That was neat. So you can. I'm trying to keep up with the lady up there, the tour guide.
Not that far.
He is close, not a vampire. He doesn't
I don't bite, at least not hard. And make sure everybody can hear me, okay? If you can't hear me, let me know. I have a question for you. I see you've all been wandering around the property here. Have you spotted a soldier? One of General Washington's soldiers? No? Jeremy's wandered off again. I'm gonna keep track of him. Well, since I'm talking about a soldier and a patient, I suppose I should tell you who I am. I am Dr. Adolf Meyer. I am the physician for the Lititz community, the Lititz Moravian community. But for the last several months, actually the last couple of months, I've actually had to step up and become a military surgeon. Very far outside of my purview, but it's been challenging. And the reason I had to do that is, let me back up a little bit. December, now this is December of 1777, early December, a physician showed up here with a letter from General Washington wanting to use this building as a military hospital. So the Moravian Church elders have agreed to that. And within a couple of days of him coming here, a second physician came. His name was Dr. William Brown. So two military surgeons here, and within a couple of days, soldiers started coming here from the east. Continental soldiers, General Washington's army. Have you heard about Brandywine Creek? How that battle came out? Not a good battle. Germantown. You know Germantown? Again, not very successful for General Washington. And some battles also in New Jersey. Now, General Washington has taken his healthy troops into winter headquarters in a place called Valley Forge, so east of here. The soldiers are being brought here on a daily basis, and this is going to be true until August. In 1778, this will then finally close as a military hospital. In that time frame, somewhere around 500 troops or 1,000 troops are going to be brought. Now, the reason I had to step up as a physician for these troops was both the first physician, and whose name escapes me, but Dr. Brown, they got sick, along with the troops. There was an outbreak of camp fever. Does anybody know what camp fever is? Have you heard of that? No? Okay. And a third military surgeon will be brought here to help out. So after 2 months, I'm able to step down as their physician. And I think we did a pretty good job with that outbreak of typhus. Over those 9 months, we had 1,000 soldiers come here, but only 110 of them died. They are buried down here on the street. They're today in a common grave. They were given Christian burials. They were buried in their own graves. But unfortunately, over time, like many graveyards, they were lost until the 1930s, when they were refound. And they've been reburied. And there is a memorial to them So if you have the opportunity and you live here in Lititz, go down and visit them. Say hello and thank you for their service. They're buried on Main Street. There's a war memorial to them. Now me, I live the rest of my life here in Lititz. And I will pass away. And I'm buried here in God's Acre, which you're going to see, I think, shortly. So if you're up there, find my grave and say hello to me. I can use the company sometimes. Thank you very much. Now, if you follow Sister Cheryl, she'll take you inside.
Make sure you find me to come back out this way.
Okay, Brother Bob, I'm supposed to leave this right here. Is
Yep. Somebody's supposed to take it to the back.
that okay? All right. So
Although
it's
it hasn't been
right-
happening.
it's sitting right there.
Hopefully it'll be back.
Okay, thank you.
Just follow Cheryl off to the left.
to come to Lititz at such a time as this. There's been a lot of turmoil in our once peaceful community of believers. You see, the war against the crown that we'd only heard about before is now upon us. My name is David Tannenberg. I am the organ builder. I came to these colonies from Germany when I was 21 years old to join the Moravian community at Bethlehem. There, I learned organ building from Brother Clem. I moved to Lititz in 1765, and I set up my own organ building shop just down the street from here, in the old Pilger House. In my lifetime, I was able to build over 30 organs, pianos, and harpsichords. In fact, in 1787, I built this very instrument here. I built organs for anyone who would order one: Lutherans, Reformed, Catholic, even private individuals. But the organs I built for the Moravians were my favorite. You see, I had to temper them with a sweeter tone. In other churches, the organ leads the congregational singing. In Moravian churches, they were just another piece of the orchestra and couldn't overpower the other instruments. Living in Lititz was a peaceful and pious life, but now all has changed and our brothers and sisters are fearful. We brethren are a people whose religious principles do not admit our interfering in wars or bearing arms. We are lovers of peace and endeavor to behave ourselves as honest, faithful subjects. and we are willing to bear our part of the burdens and rightful taxes. Our shoemaker, Peter Kreider, must provide the militia with 6 pairs of shoes a week, and John Miller must make 2 months' worth of clothing for the army. I, personally, have paid to the militia a sum of 20 pounds sterling. And oh, the misery. You can see the misery by looking at the poor souls housed in this building, which was once full of our single brethren, and now filled with sick and wounded soldiers from General Washington's army. Some days we lay to rest as many as 6 souls in an unmarked grave just east of town. Recently, blankets, linen, and clothes were collected by the army, as well as some of our oxen and horses. And one night, soldiers tried to force themselves into our sister's house to steal blankets. On several occasions, bands of raggedy soldiers came to town, going into our houses and demanding food. Tuesday last, 14 of our brethren were forcibly fetched from hence by a party of armed men and imprisoned in Lancaster. We made it known from the very first requisition that we could not join the militia, nor take any share in war. I and a few other brethren had to petition for their release and assure the Commission that we would humbly bear our share of the burden to the state. When will it end? Only our precious Savior knows, and we place our lot in his hands and pray for peace. I met my fate in May 1804. I suffered a stroke while installing an organ in Yorktown and passed away into the immediate presence of our Savior 2 days later. That was the last of my organs constructed, and it was first played at my funeral. Please, go in peace and enjoy your evening. I must get back to my work.
Right here.
Oh, okay. I know this parking lot.
You can see better if I can. Is that just let me know when everybody's out. Are we good? Okay. All right, pray. Let us continue. We have one more stop. Now again, the Moravians are very open-minded. They welcome everybody with open arms. If at some point you care to join us up there forever and ever and ever, we'll be happy to have you as permanent guests. Yeah, I think one of the pastors, and that's very unusual for parish houses to be occupied. That's mine. Do they have a large congregation? They had 2 pastors. Pastor Mark, I believe, is getting ready to retire after 25 years of service. So they will no doubt, they will no doubt put out the call to somebody else. I am actually a Presbyterian, so I think these people are lovely. They really, you know what they call the Anglicans in America, God's frozen people. So, but these people are very warm and welcoming. They really are. But I was just far enough away that I can't get here by 10:30. I am not a morning person. I tried. And I was always taught never late for Christmas. I will say, There's the arch. That is the oldest part of the graveyard. We're going to tell you what the official translation is. It is from the Book of the Revelation. But just remember, the real Halloween translation is, when the sky cracks and the ground opens up, the zombies will come out and eat your brains. But they're not. But that's not what they're going to tell you.
So this is known as God's Acres. Right over there is where John Sutter's buried at. And then when we turn around, you can look. And the Rex.
Right here, one of our ghosts seems to have been spirited away. Oh, here we go. I thought for a minute he had gone back to the ether from whence he came. Here we are. I'm going to get off to the side here. Let you meet this particular spirit.
Hello. My Christian name is Ephraim Alexander, and I am the only native Alaskan buried in this entire cemetery. This is my story. I was born in 1883 in a small Yupik village in the southwest of Alaska. As a boy, I attended a Moravian school established by the Moravian missionaries in my neighborhood. The Moravians were fascinated by Alaska, and they worked hard to spread the gospel to indigenous communities throughout the world, including mine. I learned English as a young boy, and I was the captain of the boys' fishing trawler in my village. Sadly, my parents both died when I was young. I also had a younger sister, Margaret, who died at a young age. The Moravian missionaries near me became my only family. They hired me to be a translator and a guide. I was baptized into the church when I was 11 years old. By 1900, the Moravians began to leave my area. I was closest to the Reverend Samuel Rock and his wife Emma. By 1902, when they made their long way back to Lancaster County, they brought me with them. This seemed like a good idea as they were my only family. Here in Lancaster County, I was soon enrolled in the Carlisle Indian School, where I trained to be a carpenter. In the summer of 1904, I took a job in Bucks County, working in the fields for a farmer. Soon, I developed what I thought was a bad cold. It got worse and worse, and it was soon determined that I had contracted tuberculosis. As it worsened, it was determined that I should be sent back to Lancaster County to recuperate at the Reverend Rock's home with his family. But it was there, on August 11th, 1905, that I died. In this spot, I was laid to eternal rest with a headstone that reads, "Neither shall there be any pain."
It looks as if my candle has gone out, and I think that means we're at an end now to this particular tour. But please do come back to Lititz. We've enjoyed having you. We'd love to see you back again, and not as a ghost, as your real, honest to goodness self. So again, you had a choice, you chose us. Thank you for coming.
So as you can see now, it is dark. Our tour ended, it was about 50 minutes long, give or take. They said anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour. It was a great tour. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the things that I got to see and experience here today. I was talking with Co-Reverend Brooke Hoban, who is the president of the Lititz Historic Preservation, who put this on every year, once a year, and he was explaining to me that hopefully next year for the 250th, we'll be able to go up in there to the third floor. If you could see right now, there's people up there right now. Not sure what's going on up there. In this part of the building, there's someone up on the second floor there, but holding a candlelight. But we'll be able to go up to the third floor where they had the hospital at. But unfortunately, it's all dependent on the folks that run the Moravian Church here. So again, I'll be returning next year for hopefully that. He's hoping to get permission for that as well. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed this tour. I hope you learned something new here in Lititz, Pennsylvania for the Departed Spirits Tour. Again, this is only a one-day event, and we were just discussing it. This is planned all the way from the beginning of February while the actors learn their lines and they get all the permissions and stuff like that. So it takes a long time to get something like this even put together. So I hope you enjoyed the time we had here and the effort these people put into this as well. They take their time to learn the history as well. Some of them are historians themselves, so they know a lot of the history here in Lititz. And with that, I hope you enjoyed your time again. And remember, go create your own adventure, and I'll see you at the next location.